Hello, dear students. I'm Dr. Govind Sarswat, and today I will tell you something about the poet William Cowper. William Cowper can be taken to be one of the precursors of the Romantic Age. Along with James Thomson, William Cowper, Thomas Macpherson, they started writing uh, poems which are full of imagination, full of emotion, and the love towards nature and other abstract ideas can be seen in their poems. Cooper was born on the 15th of November 1731. He was a gentle, sensitive, deeply religious poet, and he was called to the bar and appointed to petty offices, but he soon went into retirement and devoted his time to writing poetry and keeping pets. Although he suffered from fits of depression, which developed into mania, and he tried to commit suicide also, but even then, as a poet, William Cooper is noteworthy, although he is not as great as the other romantic poets like William Wordsworth and Coleridge are. But even then, we can say that he started the tradition uh, of romantic poetry. And poetry for Cooper is not a vocation actually, it was just a diversion. His friends gave him subjects to write about, and he wrote. The task, he tells us, was written because a lady, fond of blank verse, demanded a poem of that kind from the author and gave him the sofa for a subject, and he obeyed. The statement is not without significance, but it should not be exaggerated. Many great poets have sprung from the chance suggestions of friends. The origin of the ancient mariner, for instance, appears to have been a dream of one of Coleridge's friends, and for the albatross and some other important points, he was indebted to later suggestions by Wordsworth. Cooper's strength as a poet lies in description and sentiment. His range is limited both by his temperament and his experience. No one had described, no one before had described so well the sights and pleasures of domestic life in the country, the warm fire, the hissing tea, the arrival of letters, the laborer trudging through the lanes, the silent countryside under its load of snow. All these are very beautifully depicted the uh, by by William Cooper in his poetry, and he's famous for some of the poetic pieces, and he's famous because he wrote some great lines also, like men, God made the country and men made the town. So this single line suggests everything, the difference between uh, the bounty of God and the uh, artificial things created by men. Cooper's sensitiveness and melancholy enabled him to write elegiac verse, which is sincere and pure, though not profound. The most beautiful of his elegiac pieces are the lines on the receipt of my mother's picture, which is prescribed in your syllabus, and we will discuss this poem in another lecture. And then the poem Mary also is in this category. Good taste, sincerity, and clarity of expression are qualities which Cooper's poetry seldom lacks. And though the note of sadness is frequently recurrent, he should also be remembered as the agreeable trifler who could address his dog or describe his pet hair in verses full of charm. It is his rare quality because not only it is not only the man who is the subject matter or human beings who are the subject matter of his poetry. He has devoted uh, his time in order to write something about his pets also. Then the poetic passages which we which he has written, for example, there are two lines in the sorry in the winter walk at noon. He writes, the night was a winter in his roughest mood, the morning sharp and clear. When one reads, one realizes anew that man is not interested only in men. The natural scene, the seasons, cloud, wind, wavering branch, the snowflake falling, the robin fleeting light from spray to spray, those are sufficient. The human mind is capable of being moved and moved deeply by those alone. So these are the features of romantic poetry. The poet is highly or deeply moved, and using his imagination, he writes such a stuff that makes us happy. And if you if you want to feel the bliss of nature, then all these things can be found in the poetry of romantic poets, and Cooper is no exception. In his perfect confidence in the thing seen and heard, he looks forward to Wordsworth more often than he looks back to James Thomson. His blank verse develops a new power. It frees itself from the artificiality that often clings to it when he is arguing or expounding his views on contemporary affairs, and it vibrates with the emotion of a man delighting in the thing he contemplates. Then in the task, he says there is a pleasure in poetic pains, and in his longer poems, one is sometimes too conscious of them. Even in shorter, even in his shorter and more lyrical compositions, the right word is occasionally coy and difficult to win. Then in the hymns also, he declares that God moves in a mysterious way. Okay, so some of the important poems of William Cooper are The Task, The Sofa, John Gipling, The Castaway. So, in many ways, his poetry anticipates that of the Romantic Revival, though it has marked affinities too with that of the Pope. Its prevailing notes are simplicity and gentleness. We must not belittle the status of William Cooper as a poet because of the little output that he has to offer to the literary world. But whatever he has written, that has a sense of profundity, and he uses his imagination and makes us feel uh, what what can appeal to our tender emotions. In the next lecture, we will talk about his one of the famous poems on the receipt of my mother's picture. It is a it is a it is the craving of a son because he has lost her mother too soon, and when he is uh, when he finds a picture of her mother much later in his life, he he expresses that how much love he has for her, and how dear her remembrance is to him, and it is a very emotional piece of work. We will discuss and analyze this poem. Thank you for listening me carefully.